are no words. Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the AOR Hype Energy F1 2017 Season 15, round number 5 here in Catalunya in Spain. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, I'm always happy to say, is the Lord of the Airways, Mr. Hamish Sopwith.
Yes, good evening everyone. Round 5 in Catalunya. Well, what a race this should be. We've got 14 drivers, a few off unfortunately. Last time out, last season, should I say, in season 14, Wycombs was a pole sitter. He got a 1 minute 17.787, which is actually a pretty quick time. So I think if Wycombs can get around mid 17, he'd be quite happy with that. But are we going to see the likes of Brendan Lee, who is the first driver out, beat that time today? Well, in 9 minutes, we'll find out.
And there is the current esports champion. Now, this track has seen a lot of action recently, as it is the next event in the esports calendar. So a lot of these drivers are putting in a lot of laps around the Spanish tarmac. There's, of course, whoa, my goodness me, that's a lot of pushing that we're seeing Brendan going through turn 12. That was a hell of a lot of oversteer there. But let us follow our lap then on board with our current championship leader.
Solid.
Oh, he's already done his lap, so I was slightly too late with him. He is 1:17.3. He is just put on the board. My God. Marcel Kiefer's just put in a 1:17.5. Two drivers 1:75. Marcel Kiefer and Veloci Photon. Marek's got a 1:18.9. We've got a 1:19.8 by Carey. He's going to be sitting a more representative lap, I am sure. We are a few drivers down. As you can see, we have 14 drivers with us this evening. 4 of which I knew of, and not entirely sure who the other 2 are. I know Bono Huis is not with us. His PC decided to detonate about 2 hours ago, so he's not with us. Aresi announced he wouldn't be with us, along with Non-Runner and Raven. I'm never very good at kind of reverse engineering the list against who should be here and who is here. So there we go. That is where we stand at the current moment in time. People getting their first laps in. Look at that, 6 drivers within, under 118. So Steve, Jan Fader, and Formula Danny, another one in the 17.5 range. Oh. So, good God, that's 3 drivers within the same 10th. Marcel Kiefer, Formula Danny, and Veloci Photon. Wow, that's and good God, I mean, Brendan Lee's gone out there straight away with a 73. That's a hell of a benchmark he's put down.
That is very quick. Brendan has been setting for the esports event. He's actually, and maybe even for the real life Grand Prix. It just so happens they collided at the same sort of time. Is Brendan did a lap round here to advertise F1 esports, and he got a 17.4 on that particular lap. So he's already quicker than he was. Through that video, which was, I believe, posted onto YouTube yesterday or the day before. So that's very good from him. Another interesting little statistic from last season, the top 16 drivers were within 7/10 of a second last season. Well, we've only got 14.
So we haven't got 16.
So will we see every driver within a second? At the moment,
we already are. They are 8/10 top to bottom, because the only man that hasn't set a lap is this man, the Williams of Carl Hamilton, who hasn't had the greatest. Carry indeed. Another one in the 75. Good grief! 5.3, 5.6, 5.7, 5.9. So Carey then slots into 4th position. Very impressive indeed. Let us then. So we'll just wait till Carl Hamilton starts his time lap properly, and then we'll follow him through a lap of this classic Spanish circuit. That has, of course, seen real life action today. I do know the result, but I'm not going to put any spoilers out there for those that haven't seen it. Timp is out there along with Sam LeBert, although I think they have done their lap, so they're probably on the way back to the pits. Let's have a quick look at Timp. Oh no, Tim might actually be doing another one. He's going very slowly at the moment. Let us follow then Carl Hamilton, the Williams driver, through a lap of Catalunya. Then he's come off of turn 16 as fast as he can. DRS wide open. He's going to slam on the brakes around about 75 metres, which he does. Down to 4, through 1 and 2. Initially wide into 3, hugs that apex line, and then lets it wander over to the left hand side under the bridge for 4. Down a couple of gears, just touches the apex, stays. He actually stays very close. Now, I've seen other drivers wander out further than that earlier, but that may well suit his setup and style a bit better. Through 5 then, sweeps through 6, and then stays over to the right hand side, down a couple of gears, and then through 7, and he's backed off, I think. That looked very slow actually through 7. So he may have had a bit of a problem there. He's flat out through 9, and that's pretty slow. He has backed that lap off. He may be looking to try and do this again. We've seen several times actually people doing 2-time laps in the same stint. As he's gone through 10, 11, through 12. The car can get very unsettled there. It's uphill and almost off camber for turn 12. Through 13, 14, very, very easy to get that wrong, and he does indeed dive into the pits. So still no lap on the board. But Carl Hamilton doesn't have much time to get one on the board either.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Formula Danny who is out, and Photon as well. So both Sauber drivers deciding to come out a little bit earlier than most for a particular run.
Marek's out as well.
Yes, he's just came out. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Kodiak, we do often see drivers do a double run. Now, I've been told that it's pretty much a one-stop round here. So most drivers will do the one-stop. So the tyre durability is pretty good. It's not like Bahrain, where you really want to avoid doing a second run because the tyre wear isn't on your side. In this case, the tyre wear is on your side. So you might see drivers doing that double run only because it doesn't matter as much as, like I said, Bahrain. So but let's see what Formula Danny can do coming up to the final 2 chicane, or the final chicane of 14 and 15 to start his flying lap. Hopefully he doesn't have the same issues Carl Hamilton.
Indeed. Just realised the two Renaults, VP Max and VP Marek, separated at the moment by only 0.02 of a second. Well, you want consistency in your team, and that's a pretty impressive way of achieving it. Although I think Marek has actually come into the pit, so he did not improve in his time. I don't think he's going to have time to come in, turn the car around, and get back out and do an outlap, so that's pretty much his day done. And Kyle Hamilton hasn't come out again either, interestingly. So let us then follow Formula Danny through the rest of his time lap. He's in a heavy braking zone of 5, locks up a little bit, which is not too bad at that particular point. Marcel Kiefer in second. He gets out of the way, just 0.03 of a second. Veloci Photon 17.4. Very nice. Less than a tenth between himself and the pole spot. Very nice. Oh my goodness me, that's way too wide, and Danny nearly lost it on the run through turn 9. It is flat if you get the line right through turn 9. It's going to be interesting to see whether Danny does do a second time lap, because that one is pretty much dealt with now. I would imagine that would be invalidated. He was all 4 wheels off the track. He does have enough fuel to do it, so I would imagine he will come out and have another crack at that. Most people coming out. Brendan's also out, so he feels the need to defend his already impressive pole time.
Good lap though, overall, by Danny, considering he
did improve.
He did improve.
Yeah.
His teammate Photon, he decided to back off instantly. Danny clearly isn't. He's going all guns blazing for another flying lap. Let's see what his first split is going to be like. It is. Oh, it's quicker.
It's
half a tenth up, so we need to keep an eye to see what he can do. Is Brendan Lee going to improve on this time? He's just about to start his flying lap. We've got Carey going unbelievably wide at turn 9, so looks like he's backed off as well.
That's exactly where Formula Danny threw it away as well, but speaking of which, the Sauber is pressing on. He's just gone through 9, keeps it legal this time. DRS open, heading down to turn 10. Very heavy braking zone is going to be probably and he's up again. He's quicker still. He's a tenth and a bit up. It would actually be enough, and Photon is actually out. Has he crashed it? No, he's just put it into the pits. His day is done. Formula Danny could take the pole time here. He was 0.167 up. That would be enough to secure the pole. He's just got the final turn to do. There's a Renault in front of him, but not close enough to disturb him. Does he do it? Yes, he does, with a 17.287. The pole time currently sits with Formula Danny, and he immediately retires. Brendan is on a time lap though. He's just gone through quick. 9.
He's up in the first sector.
We don't know what the delta is. We know what the sector time was. And Carey is also out. Has he had a problem somewhere? He has. Carey has.
Kodiak, Brendan is up. He's up by a tenth and a bit. Just over a tenth is Brendan up. So if he can nail this last sector, he might retake the pole from Formula Danny. He doesn't need much to do it, and it's looking solid. It's looking like it is.
And he's got him. Whoa. Again, less than a tenth. Again, 170.199 is Brendan Lee. He's put himself back on the pole spot. Is Marcel Kiefer on a time lap? No, he's backed off, getting out of the way of one of the McLarens. I suspect that's Wycombs. It is indeed. So Wycombs is going very slowly. He's got... Well, no, he hasn't got time to start that because the checker flag is out. So his day is done as well. Denoso is out there. He's pushing hard on the house. That's turn 9. That's Timp ahead of him. The second Mercedes. So let's just see. VP Max jumps up to 11th position with the 117.6. That's only half a second down from pole. And that puts him 11th.
Ooh, Denoso's going considerably faster. He's 2 tenths up now. So this would jump him... actually, it wouldn't jump him up. Yeah, about 6-ish. If you can just gain a little bit more, he might jump up even more. It looks like Kyle Hamilton's had a good lap, actually. Really good lap. Considering that's his only flyer. Yeah.
VP Marek. Sorry to cut you off there, Hamish. VP Marek in the Renault is second with that 117.203. That's only 4 thousandths off of pole. What a stunning effort there by Marek. Formula Danny's already retired. Tim got up to 9th position with that 17.4. And Denoso didn't improve, so he either backed off or he invalidated that lap. That is everybody done. Wow, top to bottom is not even 7 tenths.
Yeah, I mean, the top 10 is under 3 tenths, Kodiak.
How?
So impressive. I mean, if you try and count 3 tenths most people's reaction time to the lights going out at the beginning of the Grand Prix is about 0.3 of a second, and that's a pretty quick reaction time. So the fact that these drivers are able to drive an entire 1 minute and 17.2 in that time is pretty incredible. But what a grid we have, and I think we're going to see a pretty exciting battle to turn 1. It's 730 meters to that first corner, so that's going to be... I'm
just doing some really quick maths, which is likely to go wrong. So, Brendan Lee, 117.199, 4 thousandths to Marek, 8 hundredths to Formula Danny, and then it's, what is that, 2 hundredths near enough to Carl Hamilton, 1 thousandths Hamilton to Kiefer, and then it's another 8 tenths to Steve. There's not, 8 hundredths to between Kiefer and Steve, and then it's just over 200. That's mental! How close each car is.
I mean, you've got Timp and Wycombe's 2,000.
That's two. Yeah, exactly. That's so close. You actually had to go outside of the top 10 before you had a tenth between two cars, for goodness sake. That's incredible.
Yeah. That is absolutely yeah, like you say, it is incredible. The grid is unbelievable. Brendan Lee, pole here, be very pleased with that. VP Marek in P2. Formula Danny, I think he'd be pleased with P3, but he would have wanted a bit more. Decent lap from Carl Hamilton, considering he only had one flyer. Marcel Kiefer in 5th. Steve in P6. Steeler Bear in 7th. Photon in P8. Timp in P9. And Wycombe's rounding out the top 10. Donoso with a poor qualifying in P12. He'll be hoping to make more of that in the race, because he has been a good qualifier, has Donoso. So that's a bit of a surprise.
Bone dry and fairly hot, it looks like. I can't see any clouds out there at the moment. So
like last season we had rain.
Yeah, we did. That is absolutely amazing, and Evan in chat has just made a good point. That could be the closest top 10 in the history of all platforms. That was amazing. Wycombe's in 10th was less than 3 tenths from pole. That is just absolutely mind-blowing. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish that counts, and they have got 30 seconds or 20 seconds to make any last-minute changes, any setup changes, or pit strategy alterations they want to make. Now's the time to do it. Ready or not, we'll be heading down to the grid in 10 more seconds. This is going to be good. I say it every week. Sounds cheesy, and I don't care, because that's how excited I am for these guys. Here we go then. The 5 lights for Catalunya. It is time to wind them up and let them go. A decent start then by the Mercedes. It's a pretty bad start by the Renault. He's already swan Formula Danny is right with him. And is he going to be... Oh, that's a bit of a weird lag moment there. Force India to Williams. They managed to actually leap over one another. It was quite interesting. Everybody looks like they've gotten through okay. Jan Failure down there in the second McLaren. He's not had a great start. VP Max is trying to battle Donoso for that 12th spot. And Carl Hamilton... Everybody's seemingly kept their positions. Of course, that weird lag moment between the Williams and the Force India is difficult to tell which one is actually where. But they are continuing. They're not off into the dust. Look at that, still side by side. That's Stephen. Formula Danny is down into 6th. He's had a terrible start in the Sauber.
Yeah, he has indeed. Carl Hamilton seemingly gained 3 positions all at one, which is has Carl Hamilton put it? I'm not entirely sure what's happening with
that's an unfortunate lag moment there, because we don't know which car is exactly where, but they're obviously very close to one another.
They are indeed, so we can only presume that they're following in single file at the moment. Brendan Lee, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Wow.
Already been able to gain 1 second in 1 lap. He will be hoping that continues throughout the race. Danny, like you said, all the way down 6th, shocking start from him. He's really going to have to keep his head down. He's got the Toro Rosso behind him for company. Brendan Lee, Formula Danny, is trying to move on Steve. Is he able to outbrake him into turn 1?
Oh, contact there. That was Sam LeBear. There's actually overshot the braking point into turn 1. Has tapped the back of the Sauber. Doubt Formula Danny would have noticed that, but Sam LeBear lost a chunk of front wing. That is going to hurt.
Yeah, that's not good. It looks like the Force India, well, fingers crossed, touch wood, for Force India and the Williams have sorted out whatever issue there was, because they are now racing. Kyle Hamilton and Marcel Kiefer coming up to turn 7, a pretty difficult corner there, right behind each other, and there's still a little bit of lag, not as bad as it was turn 9, such a high-speed corner, and in Dirty Air makes it even harder. They've got VP Max just ahead of them. DRS is not active yet, but this is a second of the DRS zones. Obviously, you have the one on the pit straight as well.
Indeed, and we have a oh, Timp! Oh no, Timp has spun it! He spun it at turn 10, everybody has gone past, he is now stone dead last. It's so easy to do. Pretty sure that was turn 10 where he's lost it. He hasn't D, because that's 12, he's now, sorry, 13 he's now going through. So it's so easy to do, you've got the pack so condensed, and it's very bumpy down into that particular turn, and you are going at it at pretty much double ton. And yeah, he's dropped it somewhere, and so the entire field is bookended by Mercedes at the moment.
Yes, yes, it looks like they're in a Merc sandwich, so to speak.
Williams of the Force India are at it again.
Yeah, well, it looks like Kyle Hamilton, by the timing screens, is ahead.
Is ahead, yeah.
Whether he's been able to make that move stick, we are not sure. So we do apologise for the view. I don't know.
Unfortunately, we can't particularly ignore it, because they're actually quite a way up the field. So we will kind of. It's unfortunate we're not going to be able to kind of skirt around it per se, because yeah, we'll see it on the timing board. You know, they're swapping positions, because at the moment they're side by side, but we don't know which one's ahead. Actually, they both had DRS, which is of course correct, because VP Marek is only, yeah, it was less than a second ahead of them, which as you can see, the Renault is in the right place. We don't know whether it's the Williams or the Force India that is out of sync. It looks like it's the only pair of cars doing this, so let's hope that we don't have that particular issue carrying on for other people. Looking further down the field, Wycombs is staying in touch with Carey. Look at the train behind them. Timp Timp is caught up with the back of the pack now, so hopefully he's going to be able to start making up some positions. It looks like Photon's had a decent run on the exit of turn 16. So you can have a look on the inside of the McLaren. No, everyone's of course going to have DRS on one another except for Carey. Carey went a bit deep there into turn 1, but it is status quo, and Brendan Lee now leads by 2.25 seconds over the battle for second, which is now Marcel Keeper. Marek has actually fallen behind, so the Renault has made a mistake somewhere. He's already lost those 2 positions.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some pretty good battling. Timp and Max still. Timp trying to move on the inside. That's a pretty solid move. Wow. That's moved on there by Timp.
Yeah, it was indeed.
He's got Jan Thaler next up the road, and then he's got Sam LeBert and Donoso. And it looks like Photon, Wycombs and Carey have been able to build a little bit of a gap down to Donoso. We've still got Formula Danny and Steve. They're battling pretty closely, and Danny wants to be overtaking Steve pretty soon, because at the moment, if go on.
Sorry, I'm always cutting you off. I mean, you must hate commentating. You must hate commentating with me. So Timp,
not too bad.
Timp on the inside of Jan Thaler there on turn 12. It is worth noting that Donoso, Jan Thaler, and Max. LeBert in the pits, he can't manage that damage any further. But we do have 3 runners on hard tyres. That's Donoso, Jan Thaler, and Max. So bear in mind that they're of course going to be struggling for pace early on, but they are playing the contra strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve is super close to Formula. In fact, no, Formula Danny must have made a move. I can only assume down the DRS straight. Guy wasn't actually on board at the time.
No, I wasn't.
That's one overtake for Danny complete. He's got another few to go. Because if he lets it finish like this, he'll be losing even more points to Brendan Lee. He's already 19 points behind. That's 19 points. He can't really afford to lose even more.
Steve a little bit wide there on the exit of turn 9. Right behind, you can see that battle for 7th. Now 3-way with Photon right on the tail of the McLaren of Wycombs. Wycombs is still pressuring Carey as they now come through 11 and 12. So the Ferrari hasn't still not been able to shake that McLaren away.
No, it's very close indeed, and DRS helps a lot as well. There is a 1.3 kilometers straight down here, which we're approaching now. Wycombs has DRS wide open. I doubt he's close enough to make any sort of move. Carey doesn't have DRS in the Ferrari. Steve is just a little bit too quick. But look at the rate of knots. Wycombs is closing, almost going into the back of him. But Wycombs is a wise head. He knows where to brake, so no issues.
Last season's pole now is struggling at the moment with that Ferrari, but even still, he's a couple of positions up from where he started. And is Lebert in the pits again?
It looks like it. I don't know what.
He's had another. He either didn't get his front wing changed last time because he is on. I think that's actually, is that hard or super soft? I always actually struggle to tell the two apart. That is hard tyres he was on, and now he gets his front wing changed. So either he didn't get the front wing changed last time, or he hit something else because he was actually missing elements of his front wing. Medium tyres this time going on to the Toro Rosso. His day is not getting any better, but he might be able to get those tyres to last to the end.
I don't think he got it changed, Kodiak. Just looking at his times, it's 20. Yeah, his delta is 21 seconds slower, which is about a pit stop round here. That's how much it will cost you to drive through the pit. So no, I don't think he got it changed. So that's a pretty poor management, to be honest. That's the #1 rule when you're coming into the pits to get your wing changed. Make sure you tick the box. So you've got Merrick right behind Kyle Hamilton, and who's behind the Force India of Marcel Kiefer. They all have DRS at the moment. Whether we'll see positions change, I'm not sure. Renault seemed... Oh, no, I think that was lag, but it looked like he went a bit wide.
That's why I was thinking. He had a sudden big twitch there, but I think it was, like you said, I think it was a lag moment.
Wycombs is trying to move on. Carrick's around the outside of turn 4. Now he's going to have the inside. Is Carey going to be able to carry the speed into turn 5? Wycombs trying the undercut now. He should get some good traction. I doubt he'll try and move in 7 and 8. That really is pretty risky, but he is now going to have DRS. It looks like Carey is struggling on those soft compound tyres.
Wycomb's pit line is on as well, so like you say, Wycomb's now going to have the DRS. We're a little bit wide on 9, and that actually lost him a bit of momentum on the Ferrari. But yeah, it's not a... You don't gain any particular speed on the guy ahead of you through 9. There's no braking zone there, so you have to either be nailed to their diffuser or just throw it on the inside of that heavy braking zone of 10 and hope. But Wycombs knew better than that. He was a little bit too far back. So let's see who's going to come in this time. The McLaren doesn't. Does have a pit light on, but has opted not to come in this time. And still a lot of soft runners out there, and Timp is in, so his race is not getting much better. And that's of course going to drop him down to 13th. It's going to be... Is it hard tyres going on the Mercedes? It is indeed. So that's going to be the last stop for Tim. We'll see how well he can make that strategy work.
Yeah, most drivers will be pitting in laps 7 to 11. Most of them will be doing a soft to hard. Obviously, that will vary depending on what tyre you start on. And it looks like, look how close Forton is as well to Wycombs. It's so close. And was that contact maybe with a Ferrari? They're side by side getting pushed wide.
What a move by Photon!
Surely not. He can't go on the inside of turn 7. Oh, he did think about it though.
That was well defended by Wycombs and well judged there by Photon. But he's not done. Whoa! My goodness me! The McLaren went flying off, and wow, the Saab was shot through. And look at that! There's Donoso. He's straight onto this particular pack as well. Of course, Donoso, as you can see, is on the harder tyres as well, so he will not be flying into the pits anytime soon. I would imagine. At least Wycombs, who now seems to be really struggling on those soft tyres. I'm surprised Carey hasn't come in yet. And again, look how wide that McLaren's going. So he's really struggling. Is he going to come in now?
No, he isn't.
Yes, he does. Yeah,
Wycombs. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Yep. I got my cars confused. I thought his teammate came in, but I was looking at the Ferrari of Carey. I thought it was orange.
Not quite. So Carey and Wycombs both come in, and mediums, I think, on the Ferrari. No hards on the Ferrari, beg your pardon. And it's going to be hards on the McLaren as well. Yep, it was telling me soft. Oh, he got held. He's still being held. That's a very, very, very long hold for Wycombs. Oh my goodness me, that was hellishly long for the McLaren crew. Really got that one wrong.
Yeah, that's it's so disheartening when you get held in the pits, especially to let traffic through. Sometimes you just wish the game just allowed you to if it was a driver judgment call, I think that could be quite a cool sort of game idea. Going up to the lead though, Brendan Lee's got a 2.5 second gap, and I think he's just cruising, to be honest.
I think he is
so well.
Yeah.
He's got lots of fuel. He's currently in lean. He'll probably pit in this lap or next lap. If he pits now, he'll come out. He'll have a really nice gap. He'll slot out in P10. P10, and he'll have a nice gap to Max, hopefully. And then Max will come in, and he'll pretty much just be running in clear air.
Danny's in, so I would imagine there's also going to be hard tyres then for the Sauber. So we will see what he does. Of course, the Sauber garage is a long way down the pits, long way down pit road. So let us see what he gets, and it does appear to be hard tyres. Yep, there they go. So that is going to be 10th. I don't think Tim's going to get him just yet. Looking down the road, nope, Tim's nowhere to be seen. So that is yet again a one and only stop for Formula Danny. And let's, of course, we've seen a few people lose bits of carbon fibre already. Let's, of course, not hoping for that. Wycombs is in again. Oh no, the McLaren has come in. Oh, he's had an accident. He's lost wing.
Commentator curse. Well, not quite, but almost.
So Wycomb's day has pretty much disintegrated. A new nose for the McLaren, and he's gone back on soft tyres. I find a little.
The Bear's going to overtake him.
Oh no, he is on medium tyres. I was just thinking, surely he's not going to try softs, but mediums he's got a chance to make last to the end. And so Wycomb's in. At least he has some company back there at the tail of the field. Brendan Lee didn't come in, neither does Marcel or Carl Hamilton. Marek is Marek.
Is in.
Yeah, either had a lag moment or changed his mind very late there because he was coming into the pit sideways. Steve has come in, so Photon as well. Yep, so 3 soft runners. So that's half of the remaining soft runners have chosen now to get rid of those tyres.
Interesting to see where Danny comes out, because this is like where he was. So has he been able to make an undercut work? This will be quite interesting, because this could potentially play into the hands of the likes of Brendan Lee, and he's overtaken Marek, which I think he was ahead of he was ahead of him anyway. So there isn't much of a strong undercut by the looks of it. In fact, I don't think that he gained or lost any time at all by coming in that one lap early.
No, it looks like he's just kind of minding his own business there. So we'll see if he is able to get. I mean, there's 7.6 seconds between himself and this man VP Max, who has got Jan Fader for company. Now these guys have not been in yet. I don't believe they have. Nope. So basically the top 6 have not pitted yet. So Max has been keeping Fader company for a while. They're likely to carry on with those tyres for a while yet. DRS open on the Renault, but he's not going to be able to do much into turn 10. Where are our lead 3? There's Marcel. Brendan did come in, as did Marcel. Yep. The remaining soft runners are all in. Yes. So that is going to,
as you've just said,
that is going to hand the lead over to this man, Fabrizio Donoso. Now, he has won a race this season so far in very dramatic circumstances, holding off Brendan Lee around Baku. So he now leads the race. It's going to be interesting to see how his strategy plays out. Of course, the guys that have gone for... Go on.
Oh, that's a bit odd. Is that Marcel Kiefer?
It's on softs.
Well, let me just check. I mean, if he is on softs, he has to pit again.
Well, yes. I mean, that's what both the overlay... Yes, the overlay and on screen is showing on softs. So, yeah, that would be an unusual decision.
But yeah, that is pretty strange. I mean, he wasn't in an overly competitive position. I mean, he was, but it just seems very odd. I don't know why he didn't try do what Wycombs is doing, go on to the medium compound tyres.
Is that what race director says, that he's on soft?
Yeah, so that's what's being confirmed to me. So I do think he is on soft. So
he did nearly make the 2-stop work last week, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but he was 4 attempts from it not working, and it was against this man, Brendan Lee, as well.
But he came out in traffic last time, and he hasn't done this time. So if he's on a 2-stop strategy, and he would be the only person that seems to, because there was no wing change for Marcel Kiefer, so that's a planned 2-stop strategy for the Force Indy driver. So we'll see if he's able to make it work better this time than he did last time out. It was very, very close. He has got some clear track ahead of him. So let's hope for better fortunes for... Well, if you're a Marcel Kiefer fan, you obviously want better fortunes for him. Carl Hamilton is pretty close to Marek then, post pit stop. Formula Danny is now 3 seconds off the back of Marcel Kiefer, although I suspect that gap is going to increase, of course, with the Force India being on the softer tyres. Donoso is actually extending that gap at the front. He's now 4.5 seconds, nearly 4.6 ahead of Jan Fehler now. So I would imagine that Jan is having to defend quite a bit from the Renault. So that's going to be costing him some outright pace. But Donoso, don't discount... Well, I mean, don't discount any of our runners that started on the hard tyre, but Donoso at the moment is making it work.
Yeah, I mean, if Donoso was to pit now, he'd come out in like sort of P10, P11, something like that. But he won't be pitting if he does the reverse of what the leaders did. In other words, he'll go onto the soft compound tyres. He'll probably be pitting around lap 20-ish. So. He's not coming in yet, that is for sure. Marcel Kiefer, he's gaining quite quickly on Brendan Lee, so that sort of comes to me that he is on the soft compound tyres, and Brendan definitely isn't getting held up in traffic. In fact, he's got DRS on Brendan Lee, and set the fastest lap. With it.
Yeah, that was rather expected. But this is going to be interesting because Brendan is going to defend from Marcel Kiefer. He's a racing driver, he will. Unless he decides to let him go. But then he's got the problem of the two ahead of him. He does not want to be caught up in that particular battle. So he's either going to want for them to kind of trip over one another and just let him through, which, they're not going to willingly let him go. Brendan could well have to fight for a win here.
Yeah, I think we might see that. I mean, the thing on Marcel Kiefer is, I think I said last time where he did the two-stop strategy, his ultimate pace is very, very good, which is why he can often make these two-stop strategy works. He's more of a qualifying driver rather than a race spec driver. So Brendan Lee, his race pace is I mean, he's quick in qualifying, but his race pace is also extremely good. Whereas Marcel Kiefer is more of a qualifying driver, which is why he's doing these aggressive two-stop strategies. Sure. Both of them have caught up to VP Max and Jan Fehler as well. None of them coming into the pits. Brendan Lee is going to have DRS, I would have thought. Yes, he does. So does Marcel Kiefer. Now, who has the lower wings to be able to make a potential overtake? Marcel Kiefer isn't gaining on Brendan Lee by the looks of it, so he'll have to wait a little longer to be able to fight for an overtake.
But this is going to be most costly for Marcel because he needs to clear these guys now. He's got to get through them. He can't afford for this battle. And again, you saw Brendan just look like he was going to go for the inside of turn 4. He's got no intention of letting that Force India go. Brendan is not going to worry too much about being held up by the two ahead if he can keep the Force India behind him. He will know that all the runners ahead have got to pit, so he's not going to fight too hard to try and get past them. His eyes are purely on Kiefer. As long as he can keep the Force India behind him, Brendan really will not care what the three ahead are going to do, unless magically Donoso manages to build up like a 20-second lead. Then he would have some...
He's lost a bit of front wing, has Marcel Kiefer. I mean, it's going to cost him no time at all, I wouldn't have thought, but it definitely isn't ideal. I highly doubt he's given Brendan Lee a punch-up from that.
You can see the elements are missing on the left-hand side, and that is likely to completely destroy the strategy that Kiefer wanted to put into place. But now we could well see some overtaking opportunities coming up. Of course, these three cars having DRS off of the back, pretty much are VP Max. And no one... Brendan's getting very, very close to VP Max then.
Good switch back potentially coming into turn 4. If Brendan has the speed, he might be able to try and move on the inside, which he is. That's so aggressive. We've seen him do it time and time again, and that is a solid move there on the Renault driver. Very good indeed. Now he doesn't want to outbrake himself. Now he's just got that move done. And no, he hasn't. Jan Fehler next up the road. I could see Marcel Kiefer has lost quite a bit of downforce. He'll slow around the final corner of 16.
Yeah, and that could well just completely undo what he had in mind. And oops, Brendan going a little wide there on the exit of 9, pushing a bit too hard to try and get past Jan Fehler perhaps, or try and get some distance between himself and Max. And of course,
all this battling, I was going to say, with Brendan Lee and Jan Fehler and Max is helping Donoso an absolute load, because Donoso's one of the quickest, in fact no, Donoso is the quickest driver on track at the moment. Bar the couple of laps Marcel Kiefer did, which were very quick. We've got a driver coming in, that is Marcel Kiefer.
Yeah.
That's his strategy in the bin. He'll be changing his front wing, probably going on to the medium tyres as well.
Oh, Jan's defended the inside line into turn 1. Brendan's going to go for an outside through that corner, then gets the inside for 2, and that is absolutely job done. That was a textbook move then by the Mercedes driver. Best Fehler can hope for is to hold on to the slipstreams. Had a look on the inside of 4. Not a big enough braking zone there. That was well cut off there by Brendan Lee. Oh, Photon getting his name on the penalty board. That's not going to help. I would imagine that's probably around turn 10. So now Brendan Lee can just start to stretch his legs to get away from that dueling pair of Jan Fehler and VP Max. Where did Marcel Kiefer came out in 12th? He's gone for the medium tyres, which will last to the end. Of course, he will have more traction on those tyres, but yeah, he is, what is he from the lead now? He's 34 seconds away from Fabrizio Donoso, and so therefore that makes him 28 seconds off of Brendan Lee. That's rather a lot to make up in, what are we? So we're pretty much bang on the halfway point, so just over. So he's got 16 laps to try and do it, if my maths hasn't failed me.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. I mean, that gap will drop by 6 seconds by default, because Brendan Lee's the net leader at the moment. So that'd be 28. So that's a big ask in 16 laps. Although we said exactly the same last time out, and Marcel Kiefer seemed to do it, but I don't think Brendan Lee is particularly pushing. His next competition is Danny, who is 5 seconds behind Brendan and 2 cars as well. So but there's a nice little battle forming though in the likes of Marek and Kyle Hamilton, so that'll be interesting to see if that spices up. They are on different tyres. Marek's actually on the medium tyres, whereas Kyle Hamilton is on the hard. Absolutely,
but Marek is maintaining 7 tenths to the Williams at the moment. We haven't been seeing this particular... Whoops! And as the Williams pushes a little too hard through 7 and 8. It's a little bit too wide there, but it will get DRS on the way down to 10. Oh dear, that's VP Steve you saw getting very twitchy in the background there. Kyle Hamilton really did close in on VP Marek coming into turn 10, but not close enough to mount a move. Through 12 and into 13.
Looks like there's a nice little battle with Carey, Photon and Timp at the moment. I don't think the Ferrari has DRS because it didn't seem to open. Unless that is just my graphics failing me, I'm not sure. So it'll be interesting if he uses it down this back straight. I don't always lost a little bit of time there, a bit of oversteer. Is DRS side? No. Is it open on your screen? No, I think he has a DRS issue. Whereas the Sauber of Photon does have DRS, but he's not closing at all on the Merc.
No, but Carey, oh goodness me, Carey really threw that in, and again he's got his name on the penalty board. He was closing in quite a lot on Photon. I think that may be just a visual bug for us, because he really did close in quite quickly on Photon. So it looked like he has DRS from the speed he got, but not necessarily from the actual wing opening on our screens. So that three-way battle continues. That's Tim, Photon and Carey fighting over 9th place. We've got the battle we were looking at earlier, VP Marek and Kyle Hamilton, as Steve gets his name on the penalty board. We just cut to him as he caused that, actually, on the exit of turn 9. So the Haas continuing on his merry way. Kyle Hamilton doing his best to stay with the Renault, but with the softer compound on the yellow car, that's going to help Marek to defend that particular position. Falocci Fornadani is closing in on Max ahead of him, but it's going to be quite an ask for him to try and get up to the Mercedes. We're going to see a move here. Kyle Hamilton and VP Marek into turn 1. The Renault's gone defensive. We've seen this move already once tonight, and it's going to be an outside move with the Williams. Oh, that's going to be... Oh, no, the Williams is out of shape! Yeah, there was a tiny bit of contact there, and the Williams got very... It's a good thing he ghosted there, because that was VP Steve that just drew through him. There goes ATR Tim, and that three-way battle has also got past him. That is disaster then for... What a shame. Carl Hamilton started well, but just absolutely disintegrated for the Williams driver.
Yeah, that's such a big shame. I mean, it's sort of similar to Tim. The amount of positions and time he lost there. Although Tim is doing seriously well in P8. What a recovery drive. It's not a Merc sandwich anymore.
Certainly not.
Is well into the points, and I'm sure going to get some more. Marrick's got a penalty.
He has
That's
indeed.
Quite uncharacteristic.
It is, actually. And VP Steve is right on the cusp of actually inheriting that position. He's just outside of 3 seconds off the back of the Renault. So we'll see if he is able to close that in before the end of the race. Still some way to go, of course. We've got we're on lap 21 and 33, so still some time to go. Still some mistakes to be made, and we'll see, of course. You know, the big question mark is how the different pit strategies are going to play out. But Brendan now in second, he's really honing in on his arch rival Fabrizio Donoso. Now under 3.5 seconds between the two. So, of course, Donoso does have to come in and should be coming in relatively soon. If your earlier prediction was, what was it? You said 20 to 22 or so, I think was.
Yeah, it's roughly that, yeah.
So he's in that kind of pit window now. So then that does give Donoso the option to put some very, very soft rubber on, but it's how much time he'll have to make use of them that's going to be the biggest point here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he'll have to clear a couple of drivers, which would be Carey and Tim. And then he has a bit of a gap to Steve. Yeah. And then who knows where he can go from there. The rest of the drivers are relatively compact. Someone was asking what happened to Wycombe's. He had to come through the pit twice. He came in once. We presume he knocked his front wing off, and he had to come in again. So very similar to Sam Lebert earlier on in the race, which is why he's down in P14, which is a shame because Wycombe's has some good pace. Here, Brendan Lee catching up with Donoso very quickly indeed. It's seconds per lap is the time difference, and he's leaving Jan Fehler behind with Max, keeping him company now. Whether there is going to be an overtake, we will yet to see. I would think these two drivers are going to come into the pits fairly soon. This is I'm surprised they haven't already came in, to be honest, Kodiak, because those soft tyres will last comfortably 11 laps from fresh. Obviously in qualifying you do 3 laps, you do your out, your in lap, and obviously your flying lap. So I'm surprised the drivers started in hard hadn't came in.
Indeed, but whatever goes through the mind of a racing driver.
Yeah,
I mean, so many times we've tried to guess what the drivers are doing, and many times they've proven us wrong as well.
Absolutely.
Particularly that one, Brendan Lee, who I've repeatedly said, he's either struggling or he's backing off, and then just blasts through the field. But now sub 2 seconds separates himself and Donoso as they continue again. So once more, Donoso does not come into the pits.
There's obviously done the race sims and the strategies before. This is not going to be the first time Donoso has done a full race simulation of this track, so he does know exactly what he's doing. But it's quite nice to see Donoso. It looks like we've had it in the past where he's got himself some unnecessary penalties and things like that. He's kept himself very clean so far today. That's true. I think he's driving very well. And the gap, in fact, he is actually gaining on that sort of P10 position which he was looking at. So he is able to just about has enough pace to increase his chances of a better result at the end as well.
In fairness to Donoso, we've seen a very marked improvement on the lack of penalties he's accrued himself, and of course his points haul. He didn't score any points at all in his participation in season 14. Now my screen is trying to tell me that Sam Bear's come out on Inters. Really?
I can't believe it. Well, that's it is looking a bit grey, but I will find out very.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any rain. That's. No! It is raining. It is raining.
He's made a big mistake. It's not raining enough.
It's way too early, but it is actually raining. Was this what Donoso was hanging on for? Actually, we've just cut back to Donoso and Lee, just as Brendan actually got past the Haas to take the lead. But that's going to be interesting. This is what those are started on the Haas. I bet you this is what they were counting on. So now, because it really started to rain quite hard. If we're on board with the Haas, you can really start to see it started to fall quite significantly. So
sorry, Kodiak,
go on. No, after you.
Well, it's when the spray starts coming off the tyres. That's when you know it is time to pit. Bizarrely, this is almost identical to what happened last season. Almost to the same lap, but not quite. So will Donoso come in onto intermediate tyres? And it's not just Donoso, it's Jan Fehler and VP Max as well. So this is going to be very interesting indeed.
But this is exactly what he was banking on. This is why he's gone so long on those hard tyres. And that is actually Sam Lebert crawling around on those intermediate tyres. He's done it way too early. He's probably going to go another lap, I would think. And he does indeed. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start seeing people streaming into the pits in a lap or two's time. And yeah, this is why he started on the hard tyres. He was banking on the rain arriving kind of when it has done. But that's going to put a complete halt on Brendan Lee's charge. Come on.
Sorry, Kodiak, there's a move with Formula Danny and Marek there side by side coming down the straight and into turn one. So difficult not to make contact in these changing conditions. Danny's got a fantastic exit off turn 3. Is he going to have a look into turn 4? Yes, he is.
What a move!
Great move. And he's got the fresher tyres on Jan Fehler as well. Is he going to dispatch of him? Now, if Danny can clear Jan Fehler and Ben go on to the intermediates, which I wouldn't be surprised if he does quite soon, then he's put himself right back into the race. I'm just keeping an eye on Sam Lebert to see what sector times he was doing, and I will update you.
It is absolutely chucking it down now, so it is not going to be long before that crossover point. And there, you just saw in the background, that was Marek fly off the road at turn 9. Now, we've seen quite a few people do that already, but now that the grip is just going to vanish from the track, and we're going to see a few more incidents like that. Now, it would be very easy to assume that before the rain started, Brendan Lee could have easily just run off into the distance and taken a win by, you know, as much time as he wanted. But now, and we've just lost Lebert. Yeah, he's opted to retire the car, and there he goes. The AI is pulling the car away. That is his race absolutely done. Max is in. Now, let's see what he goes on to. Is he going to risk getting onto the Inters early? What he's going to want to do is, just as the track starts to get wet enough for the Inters to bike properly, he is indeed. He's taking a risk to go onto the Inters early. He wants to be the man on track, and Donoso's just fallen. He's just fallen another 2 places. Danny and Jan Fehler have just taken it. It's a puncture! No, it's puncture! Rear left puncture on the Haas, so that's why he's crawling. Oh my goodness me!
Beginning of a lap as well.
He's got a long way to go, yeah. Kiefer, we have another Inter-runner, Marcel Kiefer in the Force India. Well, he's at the back, but he's got nothing left to lose. So, you know, why not?
Donoso's put it in the wall.
Oh, no. And there he is, trying 3 wheels on his wagon on a very slippery track. That is just absolutely soul-crushing. And yeah, it must have been soon after he came after the pit entry that tyre gave up. And so that is the end of his day. Now, where is Brendan? He's 9 seconds ahead of Formula Danny at the moment. Is he going to carry on another lap? No, he's opted to come in now. So that is surely going to be. It's got to be Inters, because you know the hards under normal circumstances would last.
That's interesting. So Danny stayed out.
Danny stayed out.
I had a look at Lebert's lap sector times, and they were pants. So they were really, really rubbish. He did have traffic. Steve's got a 3-second time penalty.
And then a 5-second stop go for speeding of the
He'll take that instantly in the pit, so it won't affect him. But Steve has picked up 6 seconds of penalty now.
Ouch. Car Hamilton's in as well, so we're seeing people switch over to the Inters, but it's all eyes. You can see the spray coming off of the back of Formula Danny, so now is the right time to do it. So Brendan has timed his pit stop right. I think it was probably a mistake to try another lap with the tyres the way they are. But, you know, we're not the guys that are down there trying to make this work. And interestingly, Brendan is right with Marek. So if he gets held up, that is going to play right into the hands. And DRS is now disabled. So, you know, that's Carrie and Tim right behind Brendan. They're still fighting on the slick tyres. Where's Marek? He's only half a second ahead. Oh no, beg your pardon, I'm reading that wrong. Marek is just right behind Jan Fehler. Oh, they're actually side by side as they're coming into turn 10. Oh,
interesting.
Nice switchback there by Marek.
I was going to say, interestingly, it's only Brendan Lee who's really on these tyres. Tim's behind him, so Tim is going to be a really good indication on whether Brendan has...
Stephen downwards are on the inters, and Brendan is gaining on Jan. Of course, Jan just made that mistake, and he's just under himself a penalty as well, just to add insult to injury. Formula Danny is in. Now, he will come out behind Marek as well. So, yeah, and so is Jan Fehler. So that, of course, is going to hand the lead over to Brendan Lee. So it looks like the Mercedes runner has timed it perfectly.
Yeah, that was, really good call there from Brendan Lee. In fact, I think he was the only driver in on lap 27. So, but say if I'm wrong, Kodiak, at least from what I saw. So,
I think you're
really
right.
Good judgment. Cool from Brendan Lee. That's why he's one of the best drivers in the world at the moment. It's because he knows when to make these judgment calls. He's so confident in his own ability, and it really does help for races like this. But I tell you what, Danny's going to be pleased with P2, especially after that awful start.
Has Carrie just come out of the softs?
Apparently.
I've got Carrie and Donoso on soft tyres.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out pretty soon.
Oh, Donoso's just come in. Ooh, yeah, I think Carrie's actually stayed on soft tyres because he was barely hanging on through turn 3. Oh dear, that's I suspect that's going to backfire on you, sir, unless the rain stops.
I must admit, Cody, he is holding on to the back of Timp, who is on the inters. So,
if he makes that work, that will be a genius call.
It would be. I mean, I've known drivers to do that in races I've been in, and I think it might be. I think you're right. I think it is softs. You know, I've known drivers who have done that when I've raced with them in the past. We had a race. I think it was like season 9 at the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring, and something pretty much exactly the same thing happened in Split 2 on that day, and it does work an absolute treat if you can make it work.
Yeah, if you time it right. But if Carrie, I can't believe Carrie is on softs. That has to be an error because he's hanging on the back of Tim, but it's way too wet for softs to be doing anything. We're seeing the spray coming off the back of the cars. That cannot be right. Brendan Lee then leads by, as we have 5 laps to go here at Catalunya. Brendan Lee leads Formula Danny by 10 seconds. VP Marek in third, then 4.2 down from our current champion, Steve. Even though he is carrying a fair bit of penalties, he's currently in fourth, but it's going to drop him down a bit. Unfortunately, VP Max, the Renaults have actually had a pretty good run there. It's Marek you've just seen going out the shop with Max in 5th, so that's a pretty good run for them. Jan Fehler is flying the McLaren flag right now there in 6th position. Timp is some way down, 6 seconds rather, in 7th position with Carrie right on his tail, not on those soft tyres as you might believe. There is Carl Hamilton, after a decent start, has had a pretty torrid race, finds himself in 9th with Velocity Photon on his tail, 10th position, because they don't have DRS anymore. That has been disabled because of the conditions. Marcel Kiefer is down there in 11th place. His strategy gamble didn't pay off with Donoso 12, and Wycombs is the last of our runners in 13th place.
Yes, so as you said earlier, Steve has got the 6 seconds of penalty and Fehler has 3 seconds of penalty, so there's a chance that Steve will only lose 1 position rather than 2. What a result it will be for Max if he can get P4. That's easily his best result of the season, so he'll be very pleased. All he needs to do is hold on to the back of Steve. You're very solid. I don't think we're going to see any changes for the podium unless Steve decides to stick his nose in. Has Marek got a penalty? In fact, I think Marek has got a penalty. So will we see Max on the podium? He obviously doesn't know that. but Max has to. He's on the he's sort of thousandths off the podium at the moment. But if Max knew he is in a podium position, I think he'd be driving a bit harder. We will see. We will see as we have less than 4 laps to go. And we're looking at this battle carry on Tim for 7th position. There's half a second that separates the Mercedes and the Ferrari. As Jan Fehler is 5.3 ahead of this particular battle. So unless someone falls off the road, I'm not sure Tim is going to find any company in front of him. But he has got his mirrors full of Ferrari. There's Carl Hamilton, that's 1.4 behind. Whoops, and that's a very fidgety Veloci Photon in the Sauber, struggling to keep it on the road as well. So we will see if these guys are able to bring it in. Brendan is continuing to extend his lead at the front, but if anything can make people have a mistake, it is slippery conditions, so it isn't done until the checker flag falls. No, interestingly, Marek and Max are both teammates. I say that's interesting, but the interesting bit is that they are both on Discord, which is what the drivers use to communicate. So I have no doubt that Max does know his teammate has that 3-second penalty. I doubt Marek is going to hold up and be nice to Max, though. So we will see. It looks like there's nothing Danny can do about Brendan's lead, but he is holding that 11-second gap. It's not closing and it's not gaining, so good stuff from him. Tim and Carey are in a quite interesting battle. I have doubts that Carey is on the soft compound tyres.
I think we're fairly safe to rule that out.
Yeah, because for me, to be fair, it shows that he hasn't actually pitted on my graphics on the left-hand side. So I think he probably has pitted. Carl Hamilton's going quick, though. Yeah, Carl Hamilton is trying his best to stay on the back of this particular pack. It's he's lost a couple of tenths on them. Oh, Carey is just giving it. Well, that's given the position to Carl Hamilton now. So the Williams will gain that 9th position, assuming, of course, there aren't any. He earns himself a penalty. Go on. Carey has 6 seconds of penalty, so he'll lose a position to Photon. He's going to lose Photon as well. Unless something drastic happens. Has Photon got a penalty? He has. So. Photon also has a penalty, so no, he probably won't. But that's Carey. Didn't want to get that unnecessary penalty because that's just gifted the position to the Williams driver. Indeed. So we're on the penultimate lap then here in Catalunya. This man leads. Oh my goodness me! Brendan Lee getting the tail well and truly out in the air at the exit of turn 4. So he's having fun out there. He's got no one to keep him company as 11.1 seconds down the road. Here's this man, Formula Danny in the Sauber. Has tried everything he possibly can to close that gap in, but finds himself without an answer. Marek in the Renault is in 3rd position. He still has Steve right behind him. So he can't relax just yet, because the penalties will shuffle the order around, as we've already said. In 5th position is the second Renault of VP Max. He's just coming through turn 9. Oh, that's a little close, but keeps it on the black stuff nonetheless. Made a few mistakes as Max. He locked up into turn 5. He was right on the cusp of that 3-second gap to Marek, but it's sort of been thrown away. He now needs to gain another half a tenth to be able to have that chance. So I don't. So I think it's pretty much over for Max in terms of podium. He's a really good guy, so I'd love to see him on the podium, but maybe not today. Jan Fehler in 6th position on the McLaren. There he is. Has 2.5 seconds between himself and Tim. Tim still dragging that Ferrari with him, as half a second separates these two races. Carl Hamilton 2.3 behind them, and Photon 4 seconds down from that particular battle rounds out the top 10. Brendan is on the final lap then, and unless he parks the car or throws it into the wall, it's a pretty assured victory. That's Wycombe's just ahead of him, whose race has just been full of everything he'd want to forget, which is a great shame. I wondered if I thought he was going to have a bit of a wiggle to himself then with Brendan Lee. A little bit deep into turn 10, but it's not really going to affect him a great deal. Danny's going to do donut celebrations. And I don't think he's that confident. He hasn't got that sort of gap.
Oh, Marek's just given himself a penalty.
Oh, that puts Max into play for a podium. Marek is going to not be happy at all. 6 seconds or penalty for Marek. That will drop him. Ooh, potentially... Oh, no, it won't drop him because Jan has a penalty as well.
But the winner here in Catalunya is another one for Brendan Lee. As Wycombs actually throws the car into the wall. He had crossed the line, so nothing lost there. Formula Danny, 11.2 down. He's having a wiggle and runs over some dead bits of McLaren that's on the track. Now, of course, Marek, as we've just seen, is going to cross the line in third. Steve right with him in fourth, but it does look like... Then there it is. VP Max gets promoted by 2 seconds in the end to that third place spot. Marek is fourth, Steve 5, Tim is in sixth, Jan Failer 7, Carl Hamilton 8, Carey has dropped down to ninth, and Photon rounds out the point paying positions. Marcel Kiefer, there he is in the Force India, crosses the line. And Donoso, from leading the race, went to try to push the hards as long as he could, but then he just completely disintegrated really as the rain then fell. Then he had a puncture on those hard tyres just after crossing the line, and then he had to limp all the way around. Spun it a couple of times in that particular lap, but he comes over the line anyway. He's the last car on the lead lap. There he is. Fabrizio Donoso completes the Spanish lineup.
Yeah, it's very disappointing for Donoso, really. He is looking quite good earlier on in the race, but it just didn't come together for him, unfortunately. Not at all. But it is what it is. I can confirm that Max is going to come into the interview box, which I think might be... We don't often get to speak to him, so that'll be good.
There's actually very, very few drivers available for us to speak to at all, which is also a bit of a shame, but if they're not on Discord, we can't really do anything about it. But there is the podium celebration.
Good result from Brendan Lee. Very convincing from pretty much lap one when he opened that 1.5 second gap. Kodiak, I think if you put money on Brendan Lee on lap one, I think your money is pretty safe.
I think you'd have pretty short odds, though, to be fair. Not meaning to sound disingenuous to our other drivers, but with Brenda's recent form, that would be a pretty safe bet. So there are the confirmed results. Mr. Brendan. Mr. Hamish, take it away.
Yeah, Brendan Lee, 3 wins this season for him. Very good job. Formula Danny in P2, VP Max in P3. He was able to make up a few positions of penalties. Marek got that annoying penalty at the end, that dropped him off the podium. Steve had a penalty, although I don't think he only lost 1 place to that. Tim, good result from him. What an awful start he had. So, yeah, really good job. Jan Failer, P7, Carl Hamilton in P8. Carey in P9, we will assume he was on the intermediate tyres. Photon in P10, Marcel Kiefer outside the points. He was trying that 2-stop strategy, ended up being a 3-stop strategy. It really didn't work out too well. Donoso P12, Wycombs 30. Sam LeBear with the only DNF.
Let's see who wants to talk to us then. We have got in the box, let's drag them all over. Let's see if we're going to interrupt any conversations going on. We're grabbing everybody that's made themselves available for interview. For some reason I can't move a couple of them, so we will speak to those that are with us.
They're all in, correct?
Oh, they are all in, marvellous. My Discord was taking a while to update. First of all, let us speak to a man that we don't often get to speak to, as we mentioned earlier, VP Max. Well, what a great result for you, sir.
Yeah, it was surprise as I went over the line and suddenly jumped to third. I knew that it was going to rain at the end of the race. In qualifying it said that there was going to be rain at the end, but so I was quite happy when I wasn't in the top 10. You know, I'd just start on the hards and take them as long as I could, and it ended up working out. Was getting very close to tyre wear towards the end, so went early with the pit stop. I pitted 1 lap too early, otherwise I could have been P3 on track.
Well, well, but it looked like you were doing your best to hang on in there, especially as the conditions were changing. Were you confident on the setup you had before the race started when the wet weather happened, or were you just taking everything that came? Max?
No, I had a completely dry setup, so I'd done no wet practice, so I wasn't really looking forward to when it rained in terms of my pace, but my pace was actually alright in the wet. I didn't lose too much time. But yeah, I hadn't prepared for wet weather at all and was running complete dry setup. Very,
very impressive then to have that third place come through, so well done to you. Let's switch over to someone whose fortunes didn't favour so well. Marcel Kiefer is with us. Well, the gamble didn't really pay off for you.
Yeah, it wasn't really gambling. It was just that I had a collision, and I got front wing damage. The mediums would have worked better, but the softs would have made the job if I would have taken care of it when I would have when I would have overtaken Brandon. But yeah, it didn't came so far. That was the problem. And yeah, like I said, I had a collision, then I had front wing damage, and that was pretty much my race, but I still was hoping for some points. I'm kind of gutted, but it is what it is. So good job by Brandon and all the other guys.
Good job indeed. Brendan Lee, have you fixed your mic? Are you with us?
Eventually I have fixed my mic. I hope it's working at the moment, otherwise it's going to be very embarrassing. But
yes, loud and clear. So a pretty comfortable win for you, it looked like, from our side. Were you confident on when you were going to switch over to the wets, or were you sort of looking to the skies hoping it would appear at a different time?
Well, I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to rain because everyone else committed to it raining, and I was the only person what stuck to a normal strategy for me. Apart from maybe Danny, but I wasn't confident all the way because obviously Fabrizio was on that alternate strategy, staying out on his hard tyres, and I only just caught him before it rained. I think I overtook him on the lap it started raining. Then obviously he dropped back because his tyre wear, but it wasn't comfortable.
Fair enough. So I mean, we always kind of assume that it's pretty comfortable for you. Obviously, your recent form has been pretty outstanding. But when you're in these kind of positions, is it a case of you're having to really push very hard and still hit your apexes as well as you really possibly can, or is there an element of comfort for you?
I think I was taking it fairly easy when I came out the pits, but then as soon as I realised that Fabrizio and a few other cars were starting on the hards and going to it rained, that's when I upped the pace again. But yeah, it's really stressful trying to keep down Fabrizio because that's not the first time I've had to do it.
And could well not be the last. Speaking of which, Mr. Donoso, what could have been for you? It was looking pretty promising for you for a while, and then you had a puncture. I'm assuming Fabrizio having mic issues, I assume. Donoso, you with us?
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do now.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was on the ultimate strategy. I knew it was going to rain. I went as far as I could with the hards, but it seems that I pushed a bit too hard on the last lap, so a bit gutted with the result. Because even when I pitted, the game switched me the tires by itself to the soft, so I couldn't do anything at that point, and it was race over.
Oh no!
It was probably going to be a P2 position because Brandon already had overtook me, so I was hoping for the P2 position, but. Yeah, a bit unlucky this time.
Better luck next time, as they say. Formula Danny, another strong result for you. Still chasing that Mercedes. So how was that race for you?
Hello guys. First of all, I would like to congratulate to race winner Brandon Lee. The race came a little bit more intense at my race start because I had a pretty good getaway. I attacked Marek and I tried to go from the outside, but I broke a little bit too late and left too much space. And after I didn't cover the inside line properly in the third corner, so I had to leave the space for Hamilton and Marcel Kiefer as well. I was pushed a little bit wide and I fell back to P5, and after Steve dive bombed in quite aggressively and I fell back to P6. And from there I overtook Steve, and in the pit stop strategy I overtook Marek and Hamilton as well, if I remember it correctly. And after I had a few on-track actions with the different strategy players, and I came to second position. So all in all, it was a pretty exciting race for me, and I can't wait to edit the video of it, because I think I would have had no chance against Brandon Lee. He totally ruled the weekend this time, so my maximum result was a P2, and I got the same result, which with a much more exciting race from coming back from P6. So yeah, it was a fun weekend for me, and I really enjoyed it.
Great stuff, great stuff. And finally, we have Jan Fehler with us. So it looked like it was a bit of a mixed race for you. We saw you sort of further up the field initially with you starting on the Contra strategy, then quite a way down, then it was 6th position you finished in. How was that one for you?
Yeah, it was pretty much the same like Max. I mean, obviously we know that it was about to rain by the end of the race, and in qualifying I actually aborted my run when I saw that I fell out of the top 10. I was like, okay, let's just jump on the hards and go as long as we can and possibly do what Topa did last season. And it kind of worked. I pitted a lap too late. Brendan absolutely nailed that. He pitted at the perfect timing, and yeah, with me pitting late, I was jumped by Marek and Steve. Also, I was a bit too cautious battling Brendan, I have to say. I mean, he did a fantastic move around the outside, but I should have braked a bit later, trying to defend my position. But at that point, I was like, okay, I'm still racing for a podium here, even if he passes me. So, yeah, why risking anything now? I just wanted to get that podium. But, yeah, pitting too late was not the best idea. And my setup also, I was not confident with it in the wet, so I knew I'd just have to take whatever I have and then, yeah, get over the line.
We do the best with the tools that you have. And that's going to wind it up for this week. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. It's always a great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much, Hamish, for tolerating me in the commentary box. Always a pleasure to have you with me, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been a great race today.
Thank you to our drivers once again, putting on a fantastic show for me and Hamish to scream mentally into the microphone about. And we will be back to do it all again next week. So join us then. Thank you very much, and good night.